Go.
And we're back without
Go.
the cat. So welcome
For
to week 4. Here we are, week 4 already. We are now with 17 games, it doesn't work. It would have been a quarter of the way through the season.
Yeah.
Which is super depressing. But now we're a little less than a quarter. So how about that? Put that in. Okay. All right, so no Big Cat today. He's obviously out there abusing some golf balls. So good for him. Little fall golf in Cleveland, nothing quite like it. So Mikey and I will handle this business. And just before we get started, it is week 4. Week 4 is the closure of taxi squads. So at kickoff tonight, which is 8:20 Eastern Standard, taxi squads will lock. And that means that no more players can be added to your taxi squad. You can still bring people up from taxi to your active roster, but you won't be able to add anyone to your taxi squad until after the 2022 draft. Okay. And also taxi squad movements are locked. So you'll need a commissioner to force that transaction from your taxi up to your active roster. Send us a text. We can do it on the app. It's super easy, but get your stashes ready, get guys in there because kickoff tonight, taxi squads are all locked up until post-draft 2022. So how about that?
Clean it up.
All right. So that's it as far as logistical stuff goes. So, real quick, we'll go through week 3. Had some interesting games, some interesting outcomes there that we'd like to kind of cover quickly.
Hot performances.
For me, at least, the biggest takeaway from week 3 was the surge of the Bill Cosby sleepers to the top of the strengths division. He beat Booga Sugar, DJ Booga Sugar, who won on the golf course, but yet again lost here in fantasy football.
USA.
America. But it was the way that he did it that's really surprising. I mean, Andrews had a good team. They just haven't been able to put it together. But, he's now the second highest scoring team in the league by less than 3 points. He was top scorer last week with 268.7 points. He got almost 50 from Josh Allen, 49.2 points, 358 yards for 4 touchdowns. He also added a 9-yard rushing score. So huge week from Allen, but things really came together for Andrew this week, and he kind of vaulted himself into the big conversation of like, hey, who's our playoff teams here?
Elite teams. Yeah, no, I think that's right. I mean, if this is the beginning of a run of Josh Allen being Josh Allen and what everybody was after with his ADP and stuff like that, he can cover up a lot of issues, and there aren't a lot of issues on this roster. I mean, I guess you could look at a little bit of lack of depth at the running back position, like a lot of guys who can score, but a little bit of a grab bag from time to time once you get past the top end guy with Aaron Jones. And maybe David Montgomery, I know he didn't show this week, but he's a guy kind of, Jesus, if they can figure out what the hell's going on with the offense in Chicago, he's a guy who can score. But, Devontae Adams, big boom, and Cooper Kupp. I mean, like Cooper Kupp to me feels a lot like Julian Edelman, totally different guy. But I mean, a dude that I just look at and is like white receiver cannot possibly be sustainable. Dude's great. And I thought, okay, maybe he just had some magic with, Goff or something like that. And no, he's just a really good football player. And I don't see that slowing down. So pretty nice nucleus. And he got nothing from TJ Hawkinson, which is probably
it'll happen from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, with tight end position, that's likely to happen from time to time, weathered that storm. Manny Sanders, I don't know if maybe that was the one game Manny Sanders goes off or not, sitting on the bench anyway.
Oh, man.
But, there's some nice pieces. Elijah Mitchell apparently back in practice this week. That could give you a first-line guy because I don't think Trey Sermon did anything to secure that running back position in San Francisco. Certainly doesn't look like the normal productivity that you're going to be able to get out of a Kyle Shanahan offense normally at the running back position, but who knows? And, for Booga Sugar, kind of just a variation on the theme, ouch. went with Sweaty Teddy, did exactly what you'd expect him to do, won a football game by doing kind of nothing but not turning the ball over and not hurting his team. And there's just not much to get excited about right now with that team. Justin Jefferson is a fucking bona fide stud. And that is something to build around, but like there's not much else to build around. The bench with Lev Bell, Marlon Mack, who's asking for a trade, Deshaun Watson, who is waiting to go to jail. I mean, like, I don't know. We'll see. I think it's going to be a tough road. I mean, and after drawing top score last week, he's staring down, defending champ and guy who doesn't show any signs of slowing down, Hulk hands this week. So, like, it's starting to look like desperation time for Boga Sugar. But if that's where they are, you may as well wait until some of the older guys, some of these defensive guys have some really, big weeks and people get injuries. And if you're going to go into rebuild, wait until you can sell high and start stacking up some younger players, because there's a nucleus here, but there's just too much ground to cover to catch up, I think.
Can I say something about DJ Booga?
If you care to.
The fuck are they not playing Aaron Donald for? They refuse to play Aaron Donald 2 weeks in a row. Now I get that, like, Hassan Reddick scored a half a point more, but like, what's the point of having, like, defense is like, it's not matchup based. Like, dude, if you have the best defensive tackle in the league, like, you play him. Like, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
enough.
It's tough. Well, like, they've got all kinds of elite guys down there, right? I mean, Chase Young and Aaron Donald on the bench at defensive end, and I like both of those players, but the position's deep enough that I think you're going to have a hard time getting a lot of value for them.
You're not.
In real football, you could trade them for a king's ransom, but in fantasy, I don't know.
Yeah. And I don't want to turn this into beat up on Danny and Joe segment, but like, to me, that's a roster construction problem. Like, if you had Aaron Donald or Chase Young, or Aaron Donald and Chase Young, like, you don't need to be drafting other defensive ends. Like, you needed depth at running back. You needed somebody besides Le'Veon Bell. Like, so to me,
especially if you're going to hold those lottery tickets, right?
Yeah, it's a roster construction problem. But I mean, hey, look, they're going to have their weeks. Like, it's not the most horrific. They have a lot of guys that aren't working out too, like Robbie Anderson, just not working out. CEH, just not working out, and Evans and Jefferson, and, hey,
Oh, right. And I just said Elijah Mitchell, but I mean, if Elijah Mitchell isn't a complete stud and Trey Sermon gets a couple looks and doesn't fumble and hit some holes and stuff, like they do have Trey Sermon, and that's not a guy I hate if he gets on track.
No,
maybe not for a playoff run, but for long term, I like that.
It's not the worst thing in the world, but anyway, too much time on this one already. Sorry, boys.
Craig Darius. Picking it up.
Sorry, boys. Craig Darius and Beaver Tamers getting on the W train. Good job. Craig took down Bussing and Back Nines Matter. He scored the top four. He has a top four score, 219.7 points. So very respectable. Yep. Dominic, number 2 of the week, 235.3, had an explosion from the Chargers offense.
Yep.
So as we expected, when they blow up, he blows up, and he put the beat down on Billy Mack, who falls to 0-3. So, big wins for those guys, So yep. I think that, both guys had pretty good games, and I think it kind of showed the potential and why I kind of like Dom's roster, because, not for nothing on the Chargers, but Najee Harris, what do you have? 9 catches, 11 catches? Like, he had some obscene amount of catches, right?
Double-digit catches, I think. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know he got
14, dude. He had 14 receptions.
14 on like 17, 18, 19 targets, something like that. It was crazy.
14. It's crazy.
Yeah, with Craig Darius, right?
Sustainable, too, because the Steelers, they're not very good.
No, they're terrible.
Yeah, they're not very good. And
Ben can't throw the ball down the field. And so, like, the check down is the play.
Yeah.
They still have weapons. So, like, I think the secondary needs to continue to back up so they can intercept every, like, long ball he hangs up there for 4 seconds. But when they stretch the field like that to no avail, it leaves the check down pass. Yeah, I mean, I think Craig Darius, showed himself to be pretty dangerous, right? Barkley and Elliott have big days. He suffered badly at injuries with AJ Brown and James White and stuff like that. Gibson was productive. Barkley was productive. Elliott was productive. Ridley finally did a little something for him. So, and Lamar had an okay game. So like those are a lot of guys you don't want to face. And I think this could be the start of a bit of a run for him. And back nines was, I mean, got production out of Austin Eckler, woo, and Cordell Patterson. Like, I like that he grabbed him on the waiver wire and he got a bunch of points from him. It wasn't enough to get him over the top, but he had a bunch of duds this week, and unfortunately missed starting Gesicki for his one productive game of the year. So
Well, who knows? So
I don't
that
think that
Gesicki
would
thing
be
could be indicative of the quarterback situation there, though.
yeah,
There's a school of thought that says, Gesicki with Brissett is something.
Yeah, no, that may well be right. I mean, clearly Tua doesn't like throwing.
I guess we'll find out this week. I think we'll find out more this week because Tua's not going to play. So,
but even with Fitzpatrick, right? I mean, Gesicki was good for 1 or 2 games, and then he would disappear for weeks on end. And he's a good talent, but he's just not a guy who takes in a lot of targets. So we'll see.
We shall. The last game of note that I want to talk about is just me getting the life beaten out of me by the big cat.
What a day.
I guess I want to hear your take on, are we okay here, or is the bloom off the rose? Christian McCaffrey injured in game. So he got 6 points, goes out injured, still scored 6 points. So not the worst thing in the world, but Deontay Johnson missed this week. Antonio Brown was on the COVID list. So, that's 3 big producers for me that went out. I went from the top scoring team in the league to bottom half to the number 7. So it was precipitous decline. Worst score of the season, 154 points. So go on.
Yeah, it ain't good. It ain't good in part because, you're sitting in a division where we think Team Traz, right, if they don't start, Dal Cook when he's not playing and stuff like that, like they could be challenging. And I think I short sold Bill Cosby sleepers when we talked about division challenging teams. I know it's 1 week, but there's nothing in his huge week this past week that suggests it's not sustainable. If anything, there are guys on that roster who should have had bigger weeks and didn't. So, I see him as a top of the table team for sure. And so I think the combination of all that competition and a bunch of guys with like weirdo, hamstring, glad I'm not dealing with that, right? That could be a season-long limiter for McCaffrey. And
the sons of bitches on the Traz team picked up Chuba Hubbard. They
got him sitting on their taxi squad.
Yeah, I know, but they picked him in like the 5th or 6th round. Like I was obviously looking to pick him up, but like they got him before I was looking to get him right around when they got him, but yeah, I was shocked that he went that early. And
it'll be they're
who knows if they even bring him up.
It'll be interesting to see if they're disciplined and leave him down there, because is he really that valuable?
No, they should try to rake me over the coals right now. He's never going to have more value. I'm just saying, like,
there's a trade offer right there. So no, I hear you, dude. But Deontay, I don't see it getting better anytime soon. Antonio, I don't know.
What do you mean, Deontay? You don't see it getting any better?
What am I saying? Oh, I think
the guy's got double digits targets every game.
I know. I think Pittsburgh's offense is really bad, and I don't know if this injury lingers for him. So yeah, I'm worried. I'm worried for you because I think you've got depth that's been chewed up already, kind of like Derek, right? Like if you look at the guys that sat on his bench last week, that's a ton of potential points, and like half of his guys didn't even play that were on the bench.
Look at it this way. I left 27.2 points of Peyton Barber on the bench, which, like, I kind of picked him up as a speculative pickup. Hey, look, I'm praying for a Josh Jacobs injury because, hey, if Gruden's going to hand him the ball, how many carries did he get last week? 30?
Yeah.
23 got 23 carries last week. So, come on, Josh Jacobs ankle breakdown. But I only left 81 points on the bench, and Derek only left 78. Like, we were ground down, and I was really ground down. So yeah, I'm a little, I don't know. I don't want to overreact after 3 weeks, but like, right. I don't like the way,
we'll see, right? I think Will Fuller looks fragile, and it doesn't look like, I don't know what.
He's on the injury report again.
He's always on the injury
report. He missed practice yesterday.
was back when he was at Notre Dame too. Miles Sanders, I mean, was that a 1 week anomaly to get no touches essentially?
2 carries, dude. 2 carries.
Yeah, I mean,
2 carries for 27 yards.
Yeah, but I mean, so open question, right? Was it a game script issue, or is the offensive coordinator a complete fucking retard? Because if he's a complete retard, that's a season-long problem for Miles Sanders too.
Yeah, but they were idiots last year too. So I think that that's like one of those games that I feel like the Philly coaching staff comes back and says like, holy shit.
What did we just do?
What did we just do? What have I done?
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
But what you've done is got your ass kicked on national TV and made the Cowboys look like a Super Bowl team, which just make it more fun when the Cowboys stumble.
I mean, okay, let's delve into that for a hot second. Are the Cowboys not a Super Bowl prospect?
Yeah, no, I think they certainly are.
I think they are. I think
they certainly look the part, right? The defense doesn't suck anymore, and the offense hasn't even found its stride yet. I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want any part of. I mean, I'd want a lot of parts of Dallas's fantasy, but I wouldn't want to play against them in the real league.
Yeah, they're gonna just steamroll the NFC East.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I mean, they could. I mean, like all of a sudden, it's like Dallas could win 13 games this year.
Yeah. No,
I mean, there's no good reason that they shouldn't have 6 baked in wins with the NFC East.
Yep.
And they already got 1.
Yeah. All right. I guess just to round out, the other 2 games that nobody really cares about, right? Really had a lot of struggles, Dal Cook out, Chubb didn't really play a meaningful role. Well, I guess he did. He just didn't get in the end zone because Hunt did all of it. But, Hulk Hands continues to steamroll right along despite, Hopkins being banged up and not doing anything. And Tyreek being, I didn't watch that game. I don't know if he was bracketed again, right? 2 weeks ago. He was clearly like they
kept on turning the ball over. It was a whole mess. That game sucked.
I didn't watch it, but I wish I had. But, despite those 2 potentially like top end guys doing 14 points between the 2 of them, no problem, right? No problem.
Yo. Allen Robinson too.
Oh yeah.
Wallace made a trade with me to get Allen Robinson. That guy has a mediocre game stat line for his season. He has 10 catches for 86 yards and 1 touchdown through 3 games.
Yeah.
Like, this is not good. This is a problem.
Well, we'll see. I mean, he had to deal with Matt Nagy last year too. Nagy just sucks. He is a terrible fucking coach. And if and when they replace him with somebody marginally competent, who knows?
Word on the street is that if they lose to the Lions this week, which I think they actually probably could, that could be the end of it.
Well,
not a moment too soon.
Really care about one way or the other about the Bears. That couldn't happen soon enough. I mean, I think Nagy has proved himself to be totally.
He's probably one of those like good coordinators, but whatever.
No shortage of those, right? And then whatever. I got my balls kicked in by Goldberg. Nice job. The disappearing act from Tyson Williams was really exciting. I don't know how you play Detroit and feed the running backs nothing. Wow. I mean, just fucking wow. So we'll see.
That Baltimore backfield was always going to be a mess, though.
That's
the running back. Like your running back is the second option when you run.
Totally.
So it's hard.
That's right. And for Lord of the Slums, I mean, like they are looking fine and balanced. I mean, how sustainable are Brandon Cooks? I think totally sustainable. There's nobody else to catch passes on a team that trails all season. Cole Beasley's big week, we'll see, but can be backfilled by Devontae doing nothing, and that's probably not going to happen many more times. But he gets to ride the Alexander Madison train. I tried it last year, either in this league or another league when Cook went down, and I got nothing for my effort. I spent a bunch of fab to acquire Madison because everybody's like, this guy's a stud.
I think he had a down week.
No,
and he only missed like 1 game or 2 games, right?
He had like 2 or 3 cracks against shitty defenses. He got touches. He did nothing. And of course, this year, when I don't have a piece of him in any league, he's the fill-in replace. And if Cook is out again, which I kind of can't figure out if he's playing this week.
He's not. He's back in practice. It sounds like he's going to play this week.
Yeah. Anyway, but a nice win for Goldberg, and it sets up some exciting games for week 4. So why don't you get us started? We got some weird shit to get through.
Week 4. Here we go. All right. Let me
Why don't we
switch
start
it over
start
so I
with the
can
bye?
get it. So our number one game, which is actually could end up probably being a bit more like number two, is so interesting thing this week, Mike. Every game is a divisional game.
Yes, yeah. Which
So
I love this new schedule. I mean, the way the
yeah,
schedule works out because of the 17 games, the 18-week NFL schedule,
yeah,
the
it's
fact that everybody gets two cracks at their division opponents, I think is awesome.
yeah, and they get everybody else once,
Yep.
and yeah, so it's pretty sweet. So anyway, we have all divisional games. We'll kind of go. We'll start with DJ 0-3, DJ Booga Sugar Boys versus Hulk Hands 2-1. All-time record here. Hulk Hands is 4-0. DJ has never been able to overcome Hulk Hands, and it won't happen this week. Anything to add, Mike?
No, this one is not looking very good for DJ, and hopefully he had a good time with the nose candy and Kohler, because there will be no joy here in week 4 for
Yes.
which, because this is such a lock, it will probably cut the other way. And for the rest of our division, I can only hope and root vigorously for DJ Booga Sugar, but it's probably wasted effort. So.
Yeah. All right, so next up we have the 0-3 Mac Attack going to the 3-0 and top scoring team in the league, Diggs. Big rivalry game. You throw the record books out. Throw the record books out here. Actually, Mac Attack leads the lifetime series, 3 wins, 2 losses. So
notably including
some
a semifinal game.
You will never forget and never forgive. Billy Mack.
So we're all rooting for him this week,
Yeah, we're pulling for Billy is 0-3, but his team isn't dead. Yeah. He's still got a pulse over there. And I like he's got Jamar Chase has been everything that you would expect.
Love it.
As good as advertised. So I think that
Darren Waller, he had big weeks on the defensive, positions, the IDPs. Aaron Rodgers, I think, could throw for as many. I mean, it'll just be a matter of how many yards does Aaron Rodgers want to throw for against Pittsburgh.
Well, it's going to depend on Watt. If Watt goes and he's effective, then,
maybe they only lose by 40. I mean, I agree.
As long as they lose, I need him to lose by at least 6.5.
I would say that is safe money, but I
don't know. Tomlin is an underdog for the gambling folk out there. Tomlin's an underdog. It's like crazy good. Yeah. But anyway,
look, they beat Buffalo in Buffalo. Not to rub that in. I'm not trying to rub salt in any wounds, but they've played to the level of their competition, maybe, or just maybe that was their one win on the way to drafting whoever the quarterback is at Alabama or whatever. Okay. Yeah, but no, look, Billy Mack, right? He's suffering the Matt Nagy issue with Mooney. Gage, I think, is not healthy yet, but he's not dead yet by any means. And with the matchups he's got this week, I mean, Ayuk, if he's the guy against that shitty Seattle defense, which is just as possible as anything, he could go off this week. There's a bunch of potential here.
Yeah, and the Big Cat lost T. Higgins this week, and that was a big piece for him, Yeah.
He's got Josh Jacobs in his starting lineup as it sits right now, and if he doesn't go, I'm not sure who he swaps out.
He's backfilling a guy like Rondale Moore or Gabriel Davis.
Yeah. Right, and Rondale Moore is another guy who could go for 30 points or 1 catch for 8 yards.
Or MVS. Is that who you just said?
No, I said Rondale Moore, but
MVS. Yeah, he's got MVS over there too. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see Billy Mack actually uncork one here and really, grind the gears of the Big Cat.
Yeah, he'll steam his tacos, and it would be. I mean, I'd enjoy it. I don't know. So let's root for Billy Mack. I'm picking
a Billy Mack win here. But if you asked me if I was going to gamble on it, this would be a pass. This would actually be a pass game because Derek should win.
Yeah.
But I don't think so.
The history doesn't favor the favorite in this game, So
all right, we got 1 and 2, Craig Darius, Tony visiting the 2-1 Lord of the Slum. Hey, Mike Smith, has Mike Goldberg ever beaten Craig in this fantasy football league?
No.
He
In the
hasn't.
Battle of New York, New Jersey is soundly beating that drum and
Yeah,
beating
hey,
that ass.
look at this. You ready to tie something together?
Let's
Just
do it.
like Tony Soprano whacked Philly Parisi, the New Jersey New York rivalry ain't a rivalry at all. Craig's 4-0. Craig's 4-0.
4-0, and he's caught fire at the right time.
Yeah. This is
I
low key a good game.
Oh, baby. I mean, well, look, let's just look at the matchups, right? I think Saquon and Zeke face a lot more resistance than they did last week, but those guys might be rounding into form. Antonio Gibson can run as much as he'd like against possibly the worst defense in the history of the NFL in Atlanta. Yeah, man. Starting AJ Green's a little aggressive. I'm not sure if he's got anybody on the bench with AJ Brown's injury to backfill that, but
nope.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And you know, Lord of the Slums lineup looks a lot different if Cook is playing.
Well,
right?
Let's see. If Cook plays,
Cook
then
is a full
who are we
go,
going with?
If Cook's a full go, I would put Jalen Waddle in.
Yeah, Waddle's in. Waddle got a lot of action last week.
Exactly, but
I'm actually a little surprised Waddle's not playing. You got 13 targets.
Who knows if that's sustainable or not, right? And so, you know, Madison would eat if he played this week, but I don't know. So
I don't think he will.
I think I'm gonna go Jersey. I'm gonna say that he's gonna get to 5-0 in the all-time record. Plus, I've got a little bit of an axe to grind because not that I should have won last week, but I fucking lost to Goldberg again, and sick of it.
Yeah, I like Goldberg here. I think that Craig is just getting ground down by his depth issues, losing James White last week. Not great. I mean, he's a guy that would start this week if he was playing. AJ Brown's a big time problem and subpar matchups for his top two running backs, you know. So I'm going to lean towards the Lord of the Slum. All right. Next up, our next intra-divisional rivalry here. We have
another 4-0 whitewashing.
Yeah, we have. So is Beaver Sanders going to get is Dom going to get his first victory over me this week? I'm 2-1. He's 1-2. Yeah.
I don't know that it's going to happen for him.
I don't.
You know, I guess to me, right? I mean, as all things with Dominic's team, it all depends on the Chargers matchup, and I just don't know what to think about the Las Vegas Raiders. I still think they're a shitty team, but the record and the teams they've beaten certainly wouldn't suggest that's the case.
Yeah, they're weirdly good, right?
Yeah, they're weirdly good, right? And they're weirdly effective defensively, even though I kind of can't name anybody other than Max Crosby on their defense. And like, I'm sure they're good players, but I don't know what's going on there. And, you know, I think that's an important division game in real football. It's Monday night. If there's a night when, you know, and it's a home game, right? For the
Chargers are at home. Yeah.
Yeah. The Chargers are at home. So, I mean, I kind of like the Chargers to go off here, which could put you in peril because of all the injuries and just kind of bumping along at so many positions for you. So yeah. I'm gonna pick my member guest partner to come through and put you in your place and get to 1-4 all time. So yeah, I think I'm picking against the favorites this week just to be, you know.
No, I don't think I'm a favorite at all. I'm running on a razor's edge here. Best case scenario, Jacobs is out and I can start Barber. And worst case scenario is going to be Deontay Johnson doesn't play, Will Fuller doesn't play, and all of a sudden I'm starting Quez Watkins or Paris Campbell or you know, like there's a scenario where I'm bottom score again this week. So I think Dom's going to get me this week. I just
your matchups aren't, I mean, other than Derrick Henry, who's kind of matchup proof and gets the Jets anyway.
I like Antonio Brown this week a ton.
Yeah, and I think AB, I think we should just write in now. You get 10 bonus points if he humps the goalpost. If he's
going to do something, he's going to lose probably his whole game check this week, but it'll be worth it.
Super offensive, and I would be willing to reimburse it for it. Super cool. I'm going to go with Dom this one.
All right, so now we'll branch right onto you. So Mapletron and Bussing, you versus Bussing. This is a tight series. You're 1-2 this year. Bussing is 2-1. Lifetime Bussing holds the edge 3-2 versus you.
No, he doesn't.
Or wait, is it the other way around?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're 3-2 over him. So fuck him. Yeah, I mean, I looking at your matchups, are you really going to start Michael Carter? Is that a thing?
That is on the assumption that Julio doesn't go, since he is like banged up and ineffective usually when he's injured.
That's true.
I'm not starting Tyson Williams because he is ineffective in playing Denver, who I think is probably the best real defense in the league. I still have Denzel Mims on my roster. I don't understand why, probably because I can't find anybody better on the waiver wire, or maybe he'll be traded to a team that actually wants to try using a tall, fast receiver. Slayton isn't going to play. So like, what the hell am I going to play a speculative tight end who's produced no points all season instead of, it's looking like I'm going to ride the Michael Carter train against Tennessee. And that's pretty much all you need to know. Right.
Yeah.
If you're starting Michael Carter, you are desperate. And I mean, this assumes Darrell Henderson can go, which is not a foregone conclusion. I love the way Beckham played. He gets double dipping against Minnesota's secondary, which I don't hate. Eckler will have a good game. Pollard seems to, he's going to get enough touches to be used.
Yeah, but Pollard.
I like Chark really this week. Different. I know I'm in the minority, but I like Chark against Cincinnati.
I mean, he's a touchdown.
I think he's got line of sight. Plus his defense. I mean, my defense. We've already talked about how I don't like Joe Schobert, not on this show, but just in general. Like, I don't like how he's performing in Pittsburgh or where he fits into that 3-4 defense. His defensive players are stone cold studs, and I've still got Jeremy Chin waiting for him to do anything more than trip somebody once or twice a game. So
we'll have his game. And plus, someday he's got Cordero Patterson. I mean, honestly, for me, I would put Patterson over Pollard.
Oh hell yeah, yeah.
Is what I do. Or his auto thing. So Brian might not have looked at it yet, but he's also got. He has depth. He has depth out there that he can work with too.
That's right.
Well,
because Gesicki
is possible to start. So anyway, Brian. Sorry, Mike.
I'm picking Brian. Yeah.
Okay, game of the week.
Anybody's interested.
Game of the week. The only matchup of the week of two teams with winning records. We have Team Traz versus the Bill Cosby Sleepers, the aforementioned Bill Cosby Sleepers. So everybody's 2-1. If I lose, in either way, it's likely going to be for the division lead in our division. So
one of these guys will be in the division lead. They'll be tied for the division lead. Correct.
And then it'll go to the tiebreakers of points. Yeah. They probably won't be able to score high points this week. So anyway, what do we got here? We got a couple of tasty quarterback matchups, huh?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Both of them. I mean, you could see 100 points from the two quarterbacks this week, or 80 points.
I mean, I think this one's going to live up to its billing. I think this looks totally awesome. I think Nick Chubb is going to come out. I mean, he's got both sides. If Dal Cook goes, he's got both sides of that football game. And that could be just a ground and pound. I don't know about the Cleveland locker room, but that much utilization for Hunt versus, maybe they're all copacetic, but it could flip, I think. And, so that running back looks great. That running back setup looks great. If Elijah Mitchell goes, anybody against Seattle's defense is pretty exciting. David Montgomery, right? I normally would say playing against Detroit's defense is spectacular. Somehow Baltimore made it not spectacular, but I still think that I would play any offensive player that's going against Detroit for the time being. Although I do like their effort. I just don't think they've got enough good players to, shut people down. His wide receivers are just awesome. I don't know, man. This is tough. This is tough because I think Corey Davis could have a big day. I think CeeDee Lamb is due. I think Bob Woods is due. It'll be interesting, right? If
I'm just about to say this.
If Bob Woods finally gets some attention and some love from Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford at the expense of Cooper Kupp, who gets the balls in that game might be the deciding factor in this game to me.
That's what I was going to say, is at what point is some defensive coordinator going to say Cooper Kupp is not going to be the guy that beats us this week?
Right.
It's not going to be him.
It's not going to be him.
And if it's not him, then where does it go? Does it go to Woods? Does it go to Higbee? Does it go to fucking Van Jefferson or whatever? But, at some point, kind of like with Tyreek Hill, how it happens several times a year where somebody's like, look, I don't care what else happens. This guy is not going to be the one that beats us.
Right.
Is Cooper Kupp that guy? I don't know. Maybe not, but it'll be interesting because I feel like it would just be fascinating to see that play out this week. Since they're starting both sides of that equation.
Right. Is Arizona a team capable of executing that? Maybe.
Maybe they're pretty good. Arizona's pretty good.
Yeah.
Arizona's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think.
And I mean, look, I like both of the tight ends here. I have watched no Atlanta. I watched them a little bit in the first week and was so despondent about the Mike Davis use and just their complete ineptitude offensively that I just shut it off and swore them off for a good long while.
Not great.
I have no idea if Pitts is beginning to find his footing in the NFL, but a guy that talented,
take some time.
Starting to sort shit out. I would say the second 2/3 of the season is where you would really look to him to shine. And if that begins this week, that is an X factor too. But like, look at the defense. It's these are
Clowney and Miles Garrett.
Good teams, dude. Two good teams. But again, they
got Clowney and Garrett going head to head.
Yeah. This is great because there's so much overlap in the matchups too. I think it's gonna be an awesome week. I hope this game, yours obviously with the McCaffrey injury and other, circumstances, the game of the week last week did not deliver, right? This one I think should, and it's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be fun to watch real football, and it's gonna be fun to watch the returns on this one.
Yeah,
Bill Cosby sleepers. I think he's gonna roll again this week. Could be.
I do too. I look at like Andrew's team is like very good. He has Javonte Williams on the bench. He has Dallas Goedert on the bench. He has an injured Michael Gallup on the bench. He still has Manny Sanders on the bench. Yeah. Like, dude, he has depth. He has good depth.
Well, and like I am surprised at how effective Kupp has been because I really tied his production.
I think everybody is. I thought everybody thought Woods was going to be the guy, and it's turned out to be Kupp so far.
Yeah. Yes, which just accentuates all the other strengths. With Pittman and Kupp, new quarterbacks and all this kind of stuff, with those guys being clearly like the number one targets in their offenses.
Yeah.
Adams is the number one wide receiver in fantasy football. His wide receivers, before you get to Sanders, before you get to Gallup, are like stone cold studs. And then he's getting, Jones is good. And all of his little complementary pieces at running back are all good players. So I like this lineup.
Yep. It's very good. So, all right, there we go. So we got some Bill Cosby sleepers taking a little bit of a stranglehold on that division. A little bit. It's early still, but he could be 2 games up on if he wins and I lose, he's going to be 2 games clear. So not too bad. So I guess that's it.
That ought to do it.
So if anybody's still listening, which they probably aren't, don't forget about the taxi stuff.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, Cincinnati. Notre Dame going to win?
You know what? I'm sitting in the same place I was last week, right?
Maybe.
Which is, I'm not fooling myself. I don't think Notre Dame is an elite team right now. I think they've got that potential if they had an offensive line, but where are you going to get an offensive line? These guys have demonstrated they're fucking awful. And
they've gotten better, though. They've gotten better each week.
Slightly, but not even close to serviceable.
Statistically,
I know. Statistically, they're among the worst teams in the offensive lines in the country. That's a fact. But
they're 4-0.
Nice named team. Struggled against Murray State. Who they've beaten and what have they showed that they are unstoppable? Not much. This defense continues to get better for Notre Dame. I actually have the Irish winning this game.
I think it's going to be.
Normally, I'd pick against them, but I don't.
It should be it's game of the week in my book.
I hope it is. Man,
I hope because either one of these teams, whoever wins, has a legit chance to be the 4th team in.
Yeah.
They legit, probably Notre Dame, even so a little bit more than Cincinnati, just from name recognition. If ND wins, Notre Dame's proven that if they win them all, they get in.
Yeah.
And you can't win them all without winning this week. So I think it's going to be an awesome game. I'm excited to watch it. I think it's going to be it's basically a playoff game. It's a playoff game.
That's what it, I mean, Cincinnati could stumble, and I haven't looked at their schedule, but assuming they don't play another elite
No, they're going into league play now. They're going into league play.
They're
so
getting ready to go into league play, and
of
anybody can stub
conference.
their toe in league play, but they'll be favored in every other game. And if they show that they are an elite team by, if they really clean up, or it's a good game and they win the game, they are on the fast track to be the first group of 5 team in the playoffs. And I think that would be great. To me,
they still need help though. That's the problem.
I don't know that
they'll need Oregon to trip over their dicks or something. Because it's September still. And when you get to December and somebody starts poking around and says, yeah, Ohio State lost, but look what they did in Big Ten play. And they go around and shit pump everybody. And then they're going to be like, all right, well, are we doing Ohio State or are we doing Cincinnati? And it's going to be Ohio State, so I'm just saying
I think that's right. I mean, I don't know how good Oregon is. They looked awesome against Ohio State, but they have a history of not getting through the Pac-12 unscathed, even when the rest of the Pac-12 sucks.
The Pac-12 is like one of those snakes that's eating its own tail. That's what it does.
That's right. As is at this point, the ACC, right? The ACC doesn't really have any good teams to begin with. And Clemson will beat anybody who's decent because they can't be this bad all year. And so, you can cross the ACC off the playoff list. Oklahoma has tons of talent. That was a really bad football team, as a football team. And so if they lose twice, the Big 12 is out. And I mean, it's a year where it's wide open for somebody to waltz in who is not Georgia, not the only 2 teams you can pencil in is Georgia and Alabama.
Georgia and Bama, yeah.
Right, but that leaves 2 spots for teams, and I mean this is the year. If Cincinnati looks good this weekend, wins the rest of their slate in convincing fashion, I think they're in, and I think that's great for college football. So
I think it's possible, but they have to win.
Staying off if they actually win the game, but we'll see.
Yeah, and both teams need to win this week, right? Notre Dame can't get in with a Cincinnati loss. And Cincinnati can't get in losing this game. So, I think both coaches are good, and they're going to understand the implications of this game, and they're going to prep their guys. And, I think it's going to be game of the week. It's game of the week.
I have had a grand old time crushing Brian Kelly for 12, 13, whatever, however many years he's been in South Bend.
However many years he's been winning and setting records at Notre Dame and making the playoffs.
Yeah, with all the asterisks and caveats and losses to Tulsa mixed in there.
Wait a minute. Why did they vacate wins? Why can't I remember? Did he have recruiting violations?
I don't know. It was probably academics.
Whatever
it was. Right? Whatever it was. Anybody who can roll in with, whether he's the second or third string, quarterback playing meaningful time against a ranked opponent, playing your 4th string left tackle and having a ghost total failure at left guard from, the transfer portal or senior transfer, wherever the hell Kane Madden's formerly serviceable carcass actually is, still win football games. He has depth. He has rebuilt that.
Has he won you over? Has BK finally won you over after all these years that I've been saying the man is a great college football coach?
He's still a dickhead, and with all of the hamstringing that he has, running that program, I think he's elite. He's not one of the top 3, but he's right there, right behind.
Okay. So who's above him?
Who's above him?
Saban, obviously.
Satan, no doubt. Yes.
Swinney, Dabo.
Hard to say on this year.
Dabo showing his colors this year.
Perhaps. I mean, the shine is definitely off the turd, right? I mean, because it's not like they don't still have 700 5-star players on that roster.
So, here's the question, right?
The magic's not there.
Should Notre Dame? Let's just pretend Notre Dame moved on from Kelly, or Kelly moved on from Notre Dame, which I don't think he's going to do. He doesn't seem like a pro coach to me. No, I feel like he's in a really good spot. So anyway, let's say Notre Dame or Kelly moved on from each other, and you could have any coach. Who? Nick Saban.
For real? Belichick's too old and wouldn't want to recruit, but
no, he doesn't want to deal with the bullshit.
Right. No, seriously, right? I mean, God forbid he goes to LA. Urban Meyer has proven he can do it. He's had plenty of opportunities to go to Notre Dame. He won't go. I still think Bob Stoops is an elite coach, but he doesn't seem to want to coach anymore. Nick Saban is not coming, but I'd obviously take him in a heartbeat. But he's almost 900 years old, right?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
then,
he's got to be reaching he's in the last probably 5 or 6. I
yeah.
think he's like
Honestly,
68.
I mean, it is early, right? It's early to make this decision. And who know, after the Florida State game with all the miscues on defense, I thought that this was silly, but the way he's recruiting, the enthusiasm that he seems to be able to generate from players on both sides of the ball,
Mhm.
I think that they would be foolish not to retain not to retain Marcus Freeman. I mean, I think he's like the guy that probably ought to have his own program. And I don't think you need to shuttle him off to a middling Big 12 school to have him turn, something like Baylor into a national powerhouse before you draw the conclusion that he's like the next up and coming coach. So that's probably where you'd end up. Because I think the elites are old or they've already passed on the job. I just don't think there are a lot of guys that I mean, even
not going to do any better.
Unrealistic. It's not going to happen. So I think Kelly has done as well as I think he can do in that job.
I think he's done as well as anybody could do. That's how I feel about it. Hey, look, like after the Florida State or the Boston College loss in 1993, let's be honest, Notre Dame was no longer relevant except for 1 year with Charlie when they got there.
Well, they weren't a
Charlie years.
They weren't a legitimate contender. They wanted to rattle off a bunch of wins in 2002, right?
Yeah.
And but that everybody knew it was smoke and mirrors, but they were a relevant contender deep into the season in 2002. Weiss had his couple, days in the sun with, Brady Quinn, but Kelly. The frustration is that he hasn't developed a real quarterback in 12 years, and he came in.
Well, this one kid is pretty good, right? What's his name?
No, Buckman.
Pine?
I mean, Pine looks like a nice. He
might be good. He might be actually good.
Yeah, he's too little to play. But so is Drew Brees. I don't know.
Baker Mayfield is 6 feet tall.
I think the frustration with Kelly is that he hasn't done, what you thought you thought he was going to be able to get you over the hump. And what he's done is built a very stable, now fairly consistent, second best program. And it's like, if Nick Saban was not running Alabama like a complete machine, it's not unthinkable that they would have had a year or two. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I think a lot of people would say I'd rather have, the Joe Burrow year at LSU once every 25 years and win myself a national championship. But LSU sucks and sucked last year and sucked 2 years before Burrow showed up and everything else. It's kind of nice to be rattling off a lot of wins a lot of years in a row.
Ed Orgeron's going to get fucking fired.
He should.
2 years after winning the national championship. So, and I get it with, I think that is probably, when you look at it, what ties all these national championship teams together. You got an elite quarterback, and Notre Dame has not, for whatever reason, been able to get a guy that's gone on to have success in the NFL. But, I mean, the fact that you can, I don't know, it's just, to your point, yes, it's good to have been relevant, to actually have real chances to make the playoffs, kind of fucking every year. It's pretty sweet. So anyway, I'm sure now everybody has tuned us out because maybe not Bussing.
Hopefully,
I bet your Bussing is still listening.
Edit this out. Yeah. Bussing, put down the tissues. This does not belong in your.
I know he's screaming at us right now, being like, Brian, is he a Kelly guy or is he with you?
I don't remember. And let's not even get into it. So a couple of news and notes before we go out. I think it's sweet. I love the weekly payouts in this league. And, I will note that through only 3 weeks, 9 of the 12 franchises have already cashed. So and we don't have one team that's run away with everything. So, our 2 0-3 teams and Bussing. So I'm assuming that he'll probably take top scorer and beating my ass raw this week. And with today's waiver moves, the Traz boys have now become the only team that haven't touched their fab budget. So happy to see everybody engaged as always, and looking forward to another interesting week.
Yeah, and with that, we will end it. Good luck, Godspeed. Except for who am I playing this week? Dominic. Yeah, fuck you, Dominic.
Yeah, fare thee well, except bussing. Hey, but call me for lineup advice, bussing. I got a lot of good thoughts for you this week.
All right, that's it.